When I received the text message from my mom with the flight confirmation for my trip abroad, I finally made up my mind to leave Victoria Ashton. Through the glass, I watched Victoria stroking her belly, phone in hand, an irrepressible, happy smile spreading across her face. She thought I didn't know that she had already used IVF to become pregnant with the child of her terminally ill high school sweetheart. Victoria was hiding her pregnancy from me, a pregnancy with her ex-boyfriend's child. And I was planning on hiding something from her too, my complete departure from her world. I came in from the balcony after hanging the laundry. When Victoria saw me, a flicker of panic crossed her face, and she quickly locked her phone screen. She thought she'd hidden it well, but her clumsy acting was a joke to me. I had already found the IVF lab report in her laundry. I pretended not to know, deciding to play along with her for one last act. Sincere, I've been feeling a bit weak lately. We need to change our meal plan. A friend of mine gave me a nutritional guide, so I need you to cook according to this from now on. Victoria pulled a menu out of her bag as she spoke. I took it and glanced over it. It was obviously designed for nutritional supplementation. A quick search on my phone confirmed it. This was a nutritional plan a doctor would give to a pregnant woman. Okay, I agreed. Just then my phone rang. I'll take this. I stepped aside with my phone. It was my mom, Eleanor. Sincere, that's wonderful, you finally agreed to my arrangements. You'll go abroad, study the language for 6 months, and then take over the family business. The overseas operations will be in your hands. Okay, Mom, I understand. Give me a week to get ready. I'll be on that flight as scheduled. As I was speaking, Victoria's voice came from behind me. Sincere? A flight? What flight? Where are you planning to? Go. I ended the call and turned to see Victoria standing there. Her hand rested subconsciously on her slightly swelling abdomen. Oh, my mom wants me to go back to my hometown for a visit. You... Before I could finish, Victoria cut me off. Sincere, I can't go with you to see your parents this time. I have to take care of Ethan. You know his condition is terrible. He might not have much time left. My expression froze. I had invited Victoria to meet my parents several times before, but she always found an excuse to refuse. She said she wasn't ready for marriage and didn't want to meet my parents yet. Now, it all seemed like a joke. She didn't want to meet my parents or marry me, but she went behind my back to have a baby with her ex. She suddenly moved closer, linking her arm with mine intimately. Sincere, I know you're always so generous. You wouldn't be jealous of a sick man, would you? Don't worry, I won't be. You go take care of Ethan. I can go home by myself this time. Victoria and I had been together for 5 years. In those 5 years, I had taken exceptionally good care of her. I gave her most of my salary every month. She said she was saving it for our wedding. At the time, I was happy about it. It made me work even harder to be good to her. I did all the chores at home: laundry, cooking, cleaning. I even hand-washed her underwear. I sent money and gifts to her parents on holidays. I even funded her startup company entirely. Many of her company's contracts were secured through my sleepless nights of drinking with clients. But just as our lives were getting better and I started dreaming of walking down the aisle with her, a single phone call from her ex-boyfriend shattered all my illusions. Victoria and her high school sweetheart, Ethan Rhodes, were popular figures back in the day, the talk of the school. After getting into the same university, they made their relationship official. In college, they were known as the Golden Couple, a match made in heaven. Everyone envied them. But the relationship came to an abrupt end 2 years later. Ethan publicly broke up with Victoria and quickly started dating the campus belle from the English department. During that time, Victoria fell into a deep, endless depression. She couldn't even make it to her classes and was constantly failing her exams. Both her advisor and the department head spoke with her, warning that if she continued, she wouldn't even graduate. At the time, I was the class president. My advisor asked me to help her, to keep her from ruining her future. Out of a sense of duty, I started tutoring Victoria every day. Unexpectedly, 2 months later, she confessed her feelings for me and asked to be my girlfriend. I didn't overthink it at the time. After spending 2 months together, I had developed feelings for her too, so I agreed. It wasn't until much later that I understood. Victoria only got with me to make Ethan jealous, hoping he would come back to her. Every time Ethan posted on social media, she would drag me into a picture to post in response, trying to get to him. But it seemed to have no effect. After graduation, Ethan went abroad with the girl from the English department and disappeared completely. The next time we heard of Ethan, he was already in a hospital, terminally ill. The moment Victoria found out, she rushed to the hospital to take care of him, and I was left behind, like a clown. The next morning, Victoria packed a small bag and hurried to the hospital to look after Ethan. As for me, I went to the company we had built from the ground up. The company had grown to a decent size. We had a few dozen employees. I went into my office and called in a few of my most trusted staff. I had been the one to build this company, practically from scratch. Victoria was merely the chairwoman in name. Everyone, don't be nervous. This isn't a formal meeting. I just called you in to go over a few things. All eyes were on me. Mr. Clark, what is it? You look so serious, which is unusual for you. Is something big happening? Yeah, Mr. Clark, don't scare us. I chuckled softly. I usually treated them like friends. We were rarely this formal. When they saw me smile, they relaxed and smiled back. That's more like it, Mr. Clark. This is your style. I nodded slightly. All right, I'll keep it brief. I might be going on a trip for a while, so I need to delegate some tasks. Megan, from now on, you'll be in charge of all company matters. You'll be taking over my position. Hearing this, Megan Cooper shot up from her seat, looking agitated. What? Mr. Clark, why are you suddenly giving me such a huge responsibility? You're not planning on leaving the company, are you? The others stared at me, waiting for an answer. I gave a bitter smile. Even Megan could sense I was leaving. Yet Victoria, my girlfriend, had no clue. Then again, if her heart were split into 10 pieces, all 10 would probably belong to Ethan. There wouldn't be a single sliver for me. Don't jump to conclusions. I bet Mr. Clark and Miss Ashton are getting married. They're probably going to meet the parents. Haven't you noticed Miss Ashton hasn't been to the office in a while? Oh, so that's it. I was wondering why Miss Ashton has been away. They're planning a wedding. Mr. Clark, congratulations. That's wonderful news. I listened to their wild guesses. With a wry smile, I said, let's stop the speculation. Please listen as I lay out the plan. They all nodded. Once everything at the office was settled, I left. Without a moment's delay, I went to get a new passport. My mom had urged me to go abroad at least 10 times, but I had always put it off. Now, it was time to get it done. By the time I finished everything, it was already dark. When I got home that evening and pushed open the door, I saw several figures inside. The room was dark, lit only by the faint glow of candles. As I stepped inside, all eyes turned to me, filled with surprise and confusion. Someone flipped on the lights. Victoria's gaze fell on me, an unnatural expression on her face. Sincere, didn't you buy a ticket to go home? How come? Alongside Victoria's stare, I felt Ethan's eyes on me. Ethan was dressed in stylish, expensive clothes. His face was pale, a clear sign of his poor health, but the sharp outfit made him look somewhat refined. I recognized the clothes. They were from a luxury brand's flagship autumn-winter collection. A single outfit from them costs no less than $5,000. Victoria was certainly generous with Ethan. She was paying for his medical treatments, buying him luxury clothes, and even carrying his child to continue his family line. For an ex-girlfriend, Victoria was truly going above and beyond. You must be Sincere Clark, right? Thank you for taking care of Victoria all this time. Before I could speak, Ethan took the initiative. Just as I was about to say something, Victoria stepped forward. Sincere, this is Ethan. Ethan, this is my business partner, Sincere Clark. Victoria shot me a pleading look. So, after 5 years together, in front of Ethan, I was just her business partner. She was already pregnant with his child, and now she wanted me to lie for her, to pretend to be nothing more than her partner. I laughed coldly to myself but didn't say anything. That's right, I'm her business partner. A smile appeared on Ethan's face, as if he had gotten the answer he wanted. Sincere, Victoria's success these past few years is all thanks to you. Don't mention it. What's going on here today? Oh, it's my birthday. Victoria threw me a party. I told her it was too much trouble, especially with my health, but she insisted. It's worth celebrating. Well, have fun. I just came back to grab something, and then I'll be on my way. I started walking toward my room. Sincere, you don't know where it is. I'll get it for you, Victoria said, as if that would fool anyone. Once we were in the room, Victoria apologized. Sincere, Ethan's condition is unstable. I was afraid that if he found out about us, the shock might make him sick. I understand. You don't need to explain. The patient's health comes first, I said flatly. Victoria looked at me, puzzled. You're really not angry? Not at all. You should go back out and celebrate with Ethan. Who knows how many more birthdays he has left. As soon as I said that, Victoria's expression changed. What do you mean by that? Are you cursing him? You... Keep your voice down, or Ethan will hear. I'm not cursing him. I'm just packing a few things. I have to catch a flight soon. Fine. Pack quickly, and when you leave, don't make any noise, understand? Victoria said, seemingly suppressing her anger. Normally, she would have blown up at me. Today, she controlled her temper only because she didn't want Ethan to know about our relationship. I scoffed internally. After packing my things, I walked out with my suitcase. In the living room, people were chanting, "Kiss, kiss." I glanced at Victoria. A girlish blush spread across her cheeks. Our eyes met, and her expression quickly returned to normal. Let's skip the kiss. She started walking toward me as if to explain, but I had no interest in hearing her excuses. After all, I would be leaving this place in a few days. I left the apartment and checked into a hotel. For the next few days, I waited for news about my passport. I had been abroad before, and my family had a company overseas, so I expected it to be approved quickly. During this time, Megan called me frequently with questions about the company, and I answered each one. On what should have been the last day, my passport was approved as expected. The day I got it, I received a sudden call from Victoria. "Let me treat you to dinner tonight. You've worked so hard on the company lately." I initially wanted to refuse, but on second thought it could be a final civilized farewell, a way to put a period on our somewhat ridiculous relationship, and I had a file to give her. Inside were her IVF lab reports, along with my resignation letter and other documents severing my ties with the company. When I entered the restaurant, Victoria was dressed nicely, but her clothes were loose-fitting. I knew she was trying to hide her pregnancy. "Over here, Sincere," she said, standing up and waving at me. I walked over and sat down opposite her. She announced generously, "Order whatever you want today. My treat, don't be shy." Okay. I took the menu from the waiter, but just as I was about to order, her phone rang. I glanced at the screen and saw Ethan's name. "I need to take this. Go ahead." She got up and walked to the side. I took the file out and placed it on the table in front of her seat. Half a minute later, she returned with an anxious look on her face. "Something's happened with Ethan. I have to go. I can't have dinner with you." I chuckled softly. "It's fine. Go be with Ethan." She hastily gathered her things, looking rushed. "By the way, take that file with you. It's some recent company information for you to review," I reminded her. "Okay." She quickly packed it away and hurried out. "Sincere, I promise I'll make it up to you next time." Watching her retreating back, I smiled faintly. "No need. There won't be a next time. For us." After she left, I ordered a meal and ate by myself. Then, I collected my things and headed for the airport. The city lights flickered outside the car window, but my heart was calm. I looked away, thinking that this time I could finally be at peace and do what I wanted to do. Goodbye, Victoria. No, that's not right. It's farewell forever. I closed my eyes and whispered softly. I got to the airport, checked in, and after a 2-hour wait, I finally boarded the plane. After a flight of over 10 hours, the plane finally landed in the U.S. My dad, Robert, and my mom, Eleanor, were already waiting for me at the arrivals gate. I had just walked out with my luggage when I saw them. "Sincere," my mom said emotionally, rushing forward to hug me. Then she frowned. "You've lost weight." A wave of guilt washed over me. For 5 years, I had neglected my parents to be with Victoria. "Mom, I'm craving your braised pork ribs," I said with a smile. A smile immediately brightened her face. "Of course, I'll make them for you as soon as we get home." When we got home, I was so exhausted that I dropped my luggage and fell asleep on the bed. I don't know how long I slept, but when I woke up, the aroma of food filled the air. I took a moment to clear my head, then checked my phone. The screen was flooded with missed calls and unread messages. They were all from Victoria. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. In 5 years together, this was the first time she had ever called me so many times. Dozens of texts all demanded to know where I was. I didn't reply. I got up and left the room. "Sincere, you're awake. Come and eat." My mom quickly filled a bowl with rice for me. "Eat up," she said gently. Eating my mother's cooking washed away all my fatigue. Suddenly, my phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID. Seeing it was Victoria, I hung up. My dad looked at me, confused. "Why did you hang up?" "It's an unimportant call," I said flatly. But the phone rang again. My dad saw right through my lie. "Answer it," he said, glancing at my phone. "What if it's something important? It's my ex-girlfriend. Is there any reason to answer?" I frowned, having no intention of speaking to her. My dad put down his chopsticks, his tone suddenly serious. "Did you not make things clear with her?" I was going to, but she was in a hurry to take care of another man. I trailed off. My parents exchanged a look and both urged me to clear things up with Victoria. I felt we had reached a point where, even without me saying it, Victoria should have understood. But it seemed she hadn't fully grasped the situation. I hesitated for a moment, then answered the call. Before I could speak, Victoria's accusatory voice came through the phone. "Sincere, why did you resign?" "I'm not coming back," I said, my voice calm but resolute. Victoria was silent for a few seconds, then her emotions erupted. "Why?" she asked hysterically. "Is it because I'm pregnant with Ethan's child?" For a moment I didn't know what to say. "Ethan is dying, why can't you be more understanding? He just wanted to leave a child behind before he died," Victoria continued, blaming me. I sighed, my voice full of disappointment. "If that's the case, then you should be with him during his final days. As for us, we've broken up. Let's not contact each other again. Sincere, when did I ever agree to break up with you?" Victoria's voice cracked, and her tone softened. "You said you wanted to marry me. How could you just leave me alone?" At one point, I had desperately wanted to marry her, to spend my life with her, and only her. But she had tainted that love. I took a deep breath, suppressing the bitterness rising in my chest. "Since you're carrying his child, you should marry him. Let them be tied together for life." "But I love you now. How could I marry him?" Victoria was panicking. "If you don't want me to have this baby, I'll get an abortion right now. There's no need. Let's just leave it at that." I hung up, not wanting to hear any more of her pleas. If she truly cared about me, she wouldn't have secretly undergone IVF. She wouldn't have introduced me as just her business partner in front of Ethan. In her heart, what was I? Nothing but a joke. From my conversation, my mom had pieced things together. Her expression soured. "She's pregnant with someone else's child and still has the nerve to call you? It's a good thing you broke up with her, Sincere. Don't be too upset," my dad said, patting my shoulder comfortingly. "I'll introduce you to a nice girl from a good, well-matched family." I managed a weak smile. I was in no mood to think about that now. "Mom, Dad, I'm full. I'm going for a walk." I got up and left the house. After a walk, my heavy mood lifted. I thought I had made myself clear enough that Victoria wouldn't bother me again. But as soon as I got home, I received another text from her. She said she was coming to the US to find me. At first, I didn't take it seriously. In her condition, there was no way she would leave Ethan to come after me. But the next day, Victoria called to tell me she was downstairs. I was stunned for a moment, then rushed to the window to look. Sure enough, a familiar figure was standing below, and next to her was Ethan. I frowned and asked her, "We've already broken up. What are you doing here?" "It's not a breakup if I didn't agree. Are you coming down or am I coming up?" Victoria said urgently. I suddenly regretted ever telling her my address. We were together for 5 years, and she never once agreed to come back here with me. Now, she had traveled thousands of miles. It was laughable. "I'm coming down. I didn't want my parents to witness an ugly scene, so I hurried downstairs." The moment Victoria saw me, she ran over excitedly, trying to hug me, completely ignoring Ethan's presence. I stepped aside, looking at her coldly. "We've broken up. It's better if we keep our distance." A flash of disappointment crossed Victoria's face. Her already bloodshot eyes instantly welled up with tears as she looked at me pitifully. "Sincere, don't you love me anymore?" I didn't answer her, my gaze shifting instinctively to Ethan. Ethan's expression was even uglier than Victoria's, but when he noticed me looking, he immediately stepped forward. "Sincere, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were Victoria's boyfriend." "It doesn't matter anymore," I said with a cold laugh. Everyone around Victoria knew I was her boyfriend. He could have found out with a single question, unless he knew and chose to ignore it. "Victoria really cares about you. I came with her specifically to explain things. I hope you two don't break up," Ethan said, his voice soft, as if he were the one being wronged. I watched him silently, my heart already cold as ice. No amount of explaining could change anything. "Sincere," Victoria said, gripping my hand tightly, afraid I would push her away. "Can't our years together make up for this one small mistake?" So, in her eyes, getting pregnant with another man's child was just a small mistake, and our years together were probably just my one-sided devotion in her mind. My heart felt as if it had been crushed, and I could barely breathe. "The child? What's your plan?" I asked in a low voice. Victoria's grip on my hand loosened, and her expression became one of helplessness. Even now, she hadn't figured out how to solve the problem. She had come to find me only because she couldn't accept the reality of losing me. "Sincere, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have asked Victoria to have my baby, but the child is innocent, and I'm dying," Ethan said frantically, afraid I would make her get an abortion. But I no longer cared whether she kept the baby or not. The moment I gave up on her, her life ceased to be my concern. "So, what does that have to do with me? If you wanted her to have your child, you should have married her and given her a proper status," I said coldly. Ethan pursed his lips, his eyes filled with regret. "I'm a dying man. How could I ask her to sacrifice her life's happiness for me?" I laughed out loud. He wanted me to be the doormat, to raise his and Victoria's child. How could someone be so shameless? We are never getting back together. "Give up on that idea," I told Victoria firmly, and turned to go upstairs. "Don't go," Victoria tried to follow me, but Ethan suddenly collapsed to the ground. She had no choice but to tend to him first. I went back to my room and watched the scene unfold below. About half an hour later, an ambulance took Ethan away. Just then, my mom came into my room. "Sincere, do you want me to deal with that woman for you?" I looked at her and shook my head. "No need, Mom. I've said everything that needs to be said. It's completely over between us." "All right then. Get some rest. I've already arranged everything with the school. You can start classes tomorrow." My mom said no more and left the room. That afternoon, Victoria sent me another message, saying she had gotten an abortion. That surprised me. I thought she wouldn't be able to part with it, especially since Ethan was dying. To go through with it while he was hospitalized, she must have been determined. But what did it matter? It didn't change the outcome. I still didn't reply to her message, and when she called again, I blocked her number. The next day, I went to school early. My foreign language skills were actually quite good. They had just gotten rusty over the years. After a full day of classes, I headed home. As I walked in the door, I saw Victoria sitting on the sofa, her face pale. She looked very weak. "Sincere, you're back." Victoria tried to stand up but was so weak she fell back onto the sofa. My mom and dad came out of the kitchen, glancing from me to Victoria and back again. Finally, my mom spoke first. "We've tried talking to her, but she said she still has something she wants to say to you." I frowned. When we were together, she never had much to say to me. Now that we were apart, she suddenly had so much to talk about. "What do you want to say?" My tone remained cold. Victoria bit her lip, looking like she was about to cry. "I got rid of the baby, and I'm done with Ethan. Can you give me another chance?" She pleaded, her voice trembling. "Over the years, I've gotten used to having you in my life. I don't know what I'd do without you." She wasn't used to having me in her life. She was just afraid she'd never find someone who treated her as well as I did. For years, I had taken care of her every need. No matter how busy I was, I never neglected her feelings. Because of that, she thought she could squander my love indefinitely, that I would forgive her for any mistake, no matter how great. But she forgot that I could get hurt, that I could be disappointed. "But I don't love you anymore. Even if we forced ourselves to be together, it would never be the same," I said flatly, my eyes devoid of the love they once held for her. Victoria looked at me in disbelief, searching my face for any trace of affection. "You did so much for me over the years. How can you just stop loving me?" So she had seen my efforts all along. She just never acknowledged them. I'm a bit of a purist. I can't tolerate my woman having someone else in her heart, and I certainly can accept her carrying another man's child, I said, staring at her intently. "Go home." Victoria, her face already streaked with tears, walked shakily toward me. "I'm sorry. It was my fault," she whispered. She turned to leave. As my eyes fell, I noticed a crimson stain spreading across her white dress. Just as she reached the door, she collapsed and fainted. "Victoria, I rushed her to the hospital. Coincidentally, it was the same hospital where Ethan was staying. I notified him immediately. When Ethan learned that Victoria had aborted the baby, the look he gave me was murderous. "Sincere, why did you force Victoria to get rid of the child?" I frowned. "I didn't force her. If you hadn't broken up with her, would she have done it?" Ethan lunged at me, grabbing my collar and raising a fist to strike. I caught his wrist, and with a slight twist, I nearly sent him sprawling. "What right do you have to blame me?" Ethan gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with hatred. You made me lose the most precious thing I had. He was the one who destroyed my relationship with Victoria, and now he was blaming me. The audacity was astounding. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. I just left the room. For the next few days, I deliberately avoided Victoria. She came looking for me twice, then stopped. I figured she had finally given up, and my heart, which had been on edge, finally settled. Life returned to a peaceful routine. About 2 weeks later, I was coming home from class as usual. As I reached my building, Victoria appeared out of nowhere and threw herself into my arms. I froze for a second, then quickly pushed her away. "Why are you back again?" I asked, an undeniable sense of annoyance creeping into my voice. Seeing no joy of reunion on my face, a look of disappointment crossed Victoria's. She whispered, "You wouldn't come back to our country, so I had to come here." It was the first time I had ever seen such a determined look on her face. If this had happened in the past, I would have been ecstatic. Now I felt nothing. "Victoria, how many times do I have to say it? We are over. This isn't your place. You should go back home." I turned and walked toward the building entrance. In that split second, an arm wrapped around my neck from behind, and a cold blade was pressed against my throat. "Ah," Victoria screamed. Ethan's low voice rasped in my ear. "Sincere, if you don't want to die, don't move." I stayed still, letting him drag me in front of Victoria. "Ethan, are you insane?" Victoria cried, her eyes wide with fear for me. Ethan sneered. "Victoria, what's so great about him? Great enough for you to abort our child and abandon everything back home to follow him here?" Sensing his agitation, Victoria spoke softly, trying not to provoke him. "What do you want?" "I have nothing left. What could I possibly want? I'm going to die in a few days anyway. It would be nice to have someone to accompany me," Ethan said, pressing the knife harder against my neck. I could feel the blade about to break my skin. Soon a crowd of onlookers had gathered around us. Victoria was frantic. She wanted to step forward, but Ethan used me as a shield. "Ethan, calm down. I know you want a child. I promise I'll have another one for you, okay?" Hearing her say that, I felt a flicker of something, but it vanished as quickly as it came. If Victoria hadn't wavered, if she had chosen Ethan and had his child, none of this would have happened. But she couldn't let go of her first love, and after losing me, she couldn't let go of me either. That indecision had led to this. As expected, Ethan reacted. "Really? You're not lying to me?" Victoria looked at him earnestly. "I mean it. We'll go back home right now." Under her patient persuasion, Ethan lowered the knife and walked toward her. She seized the opportunity and took the knife from his hand. Just then, a pair of patrolling police officers arrived. Ethan was arrested on the spot. Victoria rushed to my side, anxiously checking my neck. She breathed a sigh of relief when she confirmed I wasn't hurt. "Thank goodness you're not injured." I looked at her coldly. Her sudden warmth and concern stirred no emotion in me. "When are you going back?" For me now, even if she gave up everything, I wouldn't be moved. Victoria's face fell, her disappointment unconcealed. She lowered her head, and large tears splashed onto the back of her hand. "Why won't you give me another chance?" My voice was low. Love cannot survive betrayal. A broken love, even if pieced back together, will always have cracks. Victoria said nothing more, because Ethan was already terminally ill. He died in prison just a few days later. No one even came to claim his body. After he was cremated, his ashes were scattered somewhere unknown. When my mom heard about Ethan's death, she was still shaken and warned me to stay away from people like that in the future. I knew I never would encounter someone like him again. As for Victoria, apparently, her family ran into some trouble, and she had to go back to deal with it. We never saw each other again after that. My life here continued as planned. 6 months later, I took over the family's overseas company. My family arranged a blind date for me. I was against it at first, but my parents were relentless. Worn down by their nagging, I finally agreed. The woman was from a socially well-matched family. Her name was Sophia Jennings. She was beautiful and erudite. We had a lot in common. I felt a connection with her on our first meeting. After that, we naturally started dating. Before long, our parents were discussing a wedding date. During that time, I received a call from an unknown number from back home. I thought it might be a friend, so I answered. The other end was silent. I realized it was Victoria. After about a minute of silence, I spoke slowly. "I'm getting married. Please don't call again." I hung up. Victoria quickly sent a text, "I'm sorry. If I had chosen you with conviction back then, I wouldn't have lost you. I wish you happiness, but there are no if-onlys in this world." After that, Victoria never contacted me again. However, I did hear things about her from friends back home. They said she married a rich heir. But when he found out she'd had an abortion, he beat her so badly she ended up in the hospital. The attack was so severe that it damaged her uterus, leaving her unable to have children. Not long after, the rich heir divorced her. As for her company, she had sold her shares to follow me abroad. One thing led to another, and she lost her company, her money, and she became a laughingstock in their social circle. After the divorce, she disappeared. None of her friends or family could contact her. It was as if she had vanished from the face of the earth. Some speculated that she couldn't handle the blow and took her own life. Others guessed she had fallen into a darker lifestyle. No one knew for sure. I felt no pity for her. She had sown the seeds of her own downfall and had to bear the consequences. And I, surrounded by the blessings of friends and family, married Sophia Jennings as planned. A wedding that was truly my own.